Hey everybody, this is Turk182
and WallcrawlerOne.
Welcome back to another episode of In the Gutters. You know, we as Wallcrawler said last time when we did our episode on Wonder Woman 1984 that we try to stick primarily with comic books themselves and try not to get too much into the movies and things like that. But we have a lot more movies and TV shows that are popping up, and we don't want to just ignore them. They are still a part of the fandom.
And sometimes they're better than the original product.
Right. Sometimes they are. So we want to make sure we address them, but not become like, just that's what we are. So at Wallcrawler's suggestion, today we're actually going to talk about what?
Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol. So, Doom Patrol is one of those books that I always wanted to read, but I never could really get into it. I actually bought the first issue of Doom Patrol back from the 80s, the one that's got that Steve Lytle wraparound cover, which is really awesome.
But it wasn't an easy read, man.
No.
And it wasn't necessarily fun. And then Eric Larson took over, and it got really weird. And that's the thing about Doom Patrol. It is freaking weird. But anyway.
And then Grant Morrison came in.
Actually, my first experience with it, you were reading Teen Titans, right? They brought them back in Teen Titans. Because the original way they died. So my first experience, the reason I love Robot Man so much is because the way George Perez drew him and the way they brought them all back and how Garth is part of them, because Garth, Beast Boy, he was a part of the original Doom Patrol. And so they find them all, and they're still around.
It's got that really nice George Perez cover where Robot Man is covered up in all these vines and stuff, and he's got
Issue
a
13.
note on his chest or something.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite covers of all time. Actually, it's one of my favorite books. But that being said, Doom Patrol itself, when you start to read it, it's not always that fun or easy.
Yeah.
So, but man, that show is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I like I said, trying to get into Doom Patrol, it was really tough. And then when I think in that first issue, the one with the Lido cover, I think you had both Negative Man and Negative Woman in it.
Yep.
And then you had Robot Man. The one thing I miss, and it's fine for the TV series, but Robot Man always had this voice box on his chest.
Yeah.
So he actually sounds more like Stephen Hawkinson than Brendan Fraser, which is which is fine for the TV series. You got to give him a little bit more personality, but in the actual comic book, he sounds like a robot.
I don't know if swearing every 2 seconds is his personality, but it is what it is. No, but I gotta say this: I've never liked Brendan Fraser more. I mean, I love Robot Man, and I like this version of him. And but man, if you played a drinking game where you drank every time that Robot Man swore or Crazy Jane, you'd be comatose at the end of it, man. You wouldn't be alive.
This is my one main. I don't even know if you call it my main gripe. I think it's really my only gripe with Doom Patrol. It's not even the profanity. It's that they use the F word so much. And as someone who's a fan of the F word, you guys have probably heard, that it's not that I'm like, oh no, they said, the F word. It's just that that's the only one they use. I'm like, there are other profanities out there. You can even make a combination of things like dick shit or something like that. I mean, you could do that, but the only thing that they ever say is fuck.
It's like
it gets boring.
It's like if the word fuck had Tourette's. It just keeps saying its own name over and over again, because it's like saying that 5 times in a row doesn't make it more powerful.
No,
it's like and
it's not that they're using profanity. It's that's the only word they use.
Yeah.
I'm like, use something else. Now, when it comes to the characters, Rita is my least favorite. But I still like her.
Yeah, I like her.
Everyone has their story arc they're going through. And hers is I don't want to say it's not as strong as the others. I don't want to belittle her trauma, but it's like, oh no, my mom did, did not want to say horrible, but she did things that she probably shouldn't have had to get me into Hollywood. I'm like, bitch, that's Hollywood. I mean, I'm not trying to like make fun, but like, that's Hollywood for you. You may not like it, but the casting couch wasn't invented when they started putting porn on the internet. All right, that's been around for a while. So
Weinstein, like, Hollywood, Hollywood.
I mean, it's, and I'm not saying that makes it okay, but I'm just saying that like this has been like the dark side of Hollywood for a while. So I get that you happen to be a part of that, but it's not like you were the first or the only.
She I don't know if they're ever gonna bring out her real character, but like I would love to see her huge, like the original, like like if she could just grow, like her power is really meant to be, not be that blobby character. I think they're building up to it because it seems like she's starting to develop more. Seems like the only problem with that is like they've been alive for so freaking long that like you'd think that they'd have a better grasp of it before now, but like they really kind of were sheltered, and now that we know that Niles betrayed him to begin with, it's like, so it kind of makes sense. But I'd say she's my least favorite. I say Jane's my favorite. Jane's my girl. Then you got I love Cliff Steele.
Yeah,
and then Larry Trainor's awesome. And Cyborg is cool, but I gotta say it's Rita Farr and then Cyborg. I hate because I love Cyborg, but Cyborg's not a part of freaking Doom Patrol, man.
Yeah.
And in that he's cool. Don't get me wrong, but you've got two metal men there. It's like he's almost not necessary, but like he's a little bit better the second season, but he's kind of a odd man out.
Yeah, and this version of Cyborg is not your typical version of Cyborg that you're used to seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's much different, and he's he's interesting, but I would say that out of all the cyborgs, even the Justice League Ray Fisher's Cyborg, who I didn't really care for, and I'm not saying anything bad about Ray Fisher. I think that a lot of what he's been doing lately is pretty cool. Jeopardizing his career to stand up for what he feels is like wrong and injustice and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, his Cyborg was horrible. I mean, he really was. I didn't like the way he looked. I didn't like anything about him. But I think that Ray did a good job. But I would say that even outside the Ray Fisher one, this Cyborg is my least favorite. I like him even less than the Teen Titans Go Cyborg.
Damn. The only thing that I could say that was one of the best things that's ever happened though on television, Stone and Steel.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
But it's not because
no, it's not him. He's a good actor. He just doesn't look like freaking Cyborg, at least in my mind. I mean, because Cyborg's got to look, man. It is what it is. Cyborg's got to look, and even the Teen Titans Go version looks more like him than this guy. This guy's kind of small, man. He's not a bad actor. It's just that he doesn't look like Cyborg.
The one thing I will say that I think is going on that they haven't really fully gotten into yet, and maybe that's coming in season 3, is that we find out, and I don't remember if it was season 1 or 2, I'm thinking it was 2, is that he finds out that he's actually more cyborg than he thinks he is. And he thinks that like he's got the metal parts on the outside, and those are the cybernetics. But then he finds out that because of some damage that he's taken, that like previously that, or like during like the course of fighting, that some of his internal organs or internal like pieces have been replaced with cybernetics. And he thinks he's still fully human because he's got flesh on the outside, and that's not the case. So you don't know how much of his inside have been replaced. So we do have that. But going to I do like Jane. And this is really bad. I mean, not bad, but this is weird. Jane is cool. Jane is cool. And I don't know why, because we could never be friends. I mean, we could never be friends. We don't even think we could even have a like just a plain like just conversation. I love Hammerhead.
Yeah.
That Hammerhead is like is my person.
Silver Tongue's pretty cool too.
Silver Tongue is cool.
I mean, they kill you, but it's pretty cool.
The Susie Homemaker chick, no, because she's just too crazy.
Miranda, if she was really Miranda,
yeah.
But I actually do like her when she's blonde, though. I gotta say,
yeah, she's nice looking. She's nice stuff. And I would say that, outside of like being very attractive, and even still being able to, I don't say being able to look attractive, but even still like being attractive in those different, in the different characters that she plays or portrays. Like when you're seeing them as Jane, not when you see them actually in the underground. But that she does a really good job of embodying those different personalities.
She is a great actress, man. Dude, I really believe she deserves an award for performance, to be honest with you. Because, like, she switches characters like that, man. I mean, she... McAvoy, and that we were talking about earlier, like, when he's doing the multiple personalities and Split, he's really good at that. Man, she's just as good. I mean, if not better. I mean, like, she's my favorite character on the show, without a doubt. And like you said, sometimes it's easier to watch it. I don't know how I deal with her in person, but man, it's fun to watch. Man. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. And then like, what I really liked about the first season, as we talked about it before, is like, the character building in season 1 is freaking amazing. Yes. I mean, like, it's just solid through and through. It can weigh it down, but I think the second season, even though they didn't get to finish the whole thing, I think it's a little bit better because you didn't have to get through all that. So you've got the characters that are already there, and I really kind of like, oh, you know what? Shoot, I didn't even mention. I guess she is part of the team, and I guess I forgot Niles and Dorothy. I mean, they're not really the team. They're kind of like the catalyst to bring the team together.
Well, they're the season 2 plot.
Yeah. So, but man, I do like Dorothy. I feel bad for her. She's like a lost little girl who doesn't get to grow up. And I really kind of I really kind of dig the shoes, like the red shoes. Yeah, like that was kind of a nice touch. But like anyway, I really feel bad for her, but she could destroy the world at any moment. Mm-hmm. And you really feel bad for Niles because he's done all these horrible things, these horrible things to these people just to keep her around, and it's all falling apart. And that's what's awesome about Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol, it's all about Doom. It's like it never really ends up the way it's supposed to be.
So we kind of jumped ahead.
Yeah,
here
I'm sorry.
Quite a bit. So Doom Patrol is basically these people that are freaks, for lack of a better word, and Cyborg just.
Can I say? I'm sorry. It's X-Men before X-Men. They were before X-Men.
By like what, 2 months?
Yeah, but still.
But the for lack of a better word, they're freaks. Cyborg shows up, but he's not a member of Doom Patrol. He's there looking for Niles, the guy who is kind of like the caretaker of the Doom Patrol. And because Niles worked with his father with his cybernetics, and he's having a problem in this kind of stuff. So he's looking for Niles. But basically, you've got Cliff Steele, who was a NASCAR driver who had an accident on the racetrack and was killed, and they took his brain and put it into his robot body.
Yeah.
And so when he first comes to, and apparently I guess there's been like not different robot bodies, but I guess working to make the robot body he has, that when he first comes to, he has to learn how to walk and stuff because moving this body is very difficult. And whenever I think about him, because Cliff curses a lot and he's always dropping the F-bomb, and he just flies off the handle. But it reminds me of in Darkman, which I think is actually a real medical thing, where because of the extent of his burns, that they have to like sever some of the nerves so he doesn't feel that. But when the mind is devoid of actual like physical sensation, it then turns in on itself.
Starts eating itself.
Right, and it goes crazy. So you talk about a guy whose whose brain is in a robot body, so he can't feel anything. So he has no physical sensation whatsoever, and his brain is craving that, which it can't. So it turns in on itself, which would explain his kind of mood swings, why he's always angry and aggressive and that sort of thing.
Well, and then like, you know, the word F, the F-bomb. Why do we use the F-bomb? Because it's just a perfect little word, you know.
Yeah.
It's the reason that you really there will be something that overtakes that one day. And probably just because the Doom Patrol uses it so much, it will have to be something else to be used. Because it means nothing now that they say it so much. But like, if a mind has no other outlet besides that, what else are you going to go to in our English language that has that effect? That's all you got. So it makes sense that you throw it out there a lot, but it does get kind of old.
So you've got him. You've got Larry Traynor.
His origin's really good.
Yeah. So Cliff Steele goes by Robot Man. Larry Traynor goes by Negative Man. He was, a 1950s pilot who had been selected to be this astronaut program. He's got a wife, kind of picturesque like life. Wife, 2 kids, but he's also a closeted homosexual. And like his I guess not his.
I don't think that was part. Huh?
I guess it's his wingman or
his
whatever.
wingman. The guy that was like kind of helping him out with like the ship and stuff was like his lover. And here's the thing about that. Sometimes when they try to throw in a gay character to show, it feels very forced. Mm-hmm. Like they're just trying to shoehorn it. For some reason, in this show, it works perfectly. They don't dumb anything down, and they don't have to make it. It doesn't feel weird or awkward. It makes perfect sense because especially at that time period. I guess the thing about it, you know why it feels forced nowadays? It's not shocking to be gay to me in any way, shape, or form. Like because we're in the now. Because it's norm. 50s, it was a thing. Like you really, I mean, I know now you got to be afraid of it too. I'm sure it's a thing with, and especially where you are in the world. But like to me, it's not shocking because it's just out there. But back then, you would have lost everything.
It's weird how the world kind of goes through like cycles. If you go back, like way back when, I don't hate to say back in Roman times,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing,
they were doing kids before they went to go in battle.
Well, I'm not going to talk about that.
But that's true. It's not like I was making it up.
But I was talking about just like, like homosexuality wasn't a thing. And then you get to a point where it's like, well, now it's a thing that we don't like. But then in like early, like 19th, I guess 20th century, like Germany, like they were very accepting of like homosexuals and stuff like that. And then like there's a change, and now we're not.
We're not. It's not cool anymore.
And the thing is with Larry, so with all these characters, they're all having like problems dealing with their freakness. I'll just say, I don't want to call them abilities because they're not really abilities. Like Robot Man, he's when he's learning how to walk, he can't take a step.
Yeah,
he can't get his foot up without hitting like the step and fully take a step. And then he has to he starts thinking about his daughter and teaching her how to walk, and that's what helps him. So like they all have these inner turmoils that are stopping them from really fully embracing like the other part of them and being able to work with that. So with Larry, he's got a lot going on, but his picturesque life wasn't, because his wife knew he was gay.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't really say anything, she kind of knew what was going on, and she didn't like it, but she loved him, and I think kind of like despised herself for loving a gay man and wanted him to like not be that and to be home. And, but even though she knew, he didn't know that she knew, and he was carrying on this facade while disappointing her and disappointing his lover and disappointing himself. And then when he does finally get the chance to go into space, his rocket encounters some kind of anomaly, which turns out to be like some kind of like energy force.
Energy field guy thing, whatever it is.
His rocket crashes. His body is horribly burned. Not only that, but this energy field thing is giving off high levels of radiation that pretty much kills anybody that's around. So he ends up having to be wrapped up in these specially coated bandages to keep the radiation like inside. And that's after, I think first he's in like a big suit or whatever, and he's kept away from everybody. His wife moves on, his lover moves on, and the only thing he has is this creature that's inside of him that he can't communicate with, that kind of seems to do its own thing, but they're bound to one another, and it can only leave for like 60 seconds at a time, and then it has to come back. So he doesn't have anything, and he lives like with Rita in the house of Niles, and like solitude, you know.
Here's the interesting thing. Like I love you in a very platonic heterosexual way, but men that are gay, like I've had friends that they have children. You can't do that unless you're with a woman, you know. So it's like they care about that woman, and they love their children, you know, but they don't love her in the way that a man. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that puts you in a spot, you know. It's like you care about your kid, and you care about that woman because you don't want to hurt her, but that's not really you. What a weird dichotomy, you know, that creates. It's like, and like I know a dude. He's got kids, and he wouldn't have his kid if it wasn't for that woman. But he can't be with that woman because he's so. And you can't be 100% that way, or else you couldn't have done the other thing to begin with. But anyway. That makes it an in-depth character, because that guy Larry Trainer, he loves his children. He still loves his children, but his life, and the woman, you find out later, his wife died heartbroken. Yeah, I thought she would have written him off because she left him.
Yeah,
I thought it was done, but no. Come to find out, she died broken because she cared about him. It happens very often, I think.
But you said that that you don't want to hurt them, but the thing is, when you engage in a relationship with them, knowing that it can only go so far, you already hurting them.
Yep.
Whether you intend to or not, you know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's just one of those things where you don't realize that you're being selfish.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, and we all do it in one way or another. And that's part of the struggle of Larry. So then you've got.
Well, when you're in a culture that tells you everything that you are is wrong, and you're trying to make it, maybe you even are trying to convince yourself you're not that way,
right?
And then you're stuck because, oh shit, I am.
Right, because this is the only thing that really feels right to me.
Yeah.
And you tell me that that I should be this way, and I'm trying.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't feel right and doesn't feel natural, and this does. But I can't have this, and then even then, like, to be an astronaut, he couldn't be gay. He had to be that family man. So it's like, so even then there he's like, I love you and I want to be with you, dude, but I can't be an astronaut if I love you.
Yeah,
so, you know, and I like you and you mean the world to me, and I love you in a certain way, you know, but I can never fully commit to you, but I need you to be an astronaut. So
well, even like heterosexual astronauts, like, those people that died in that space mission, like when you are literally putting your life, like even him as a test pilot, you know, like, you're putting your life in your hands. You say that you love your family, but you're still willing to risk your life for your job.
Right. And his son was even like afraid, you know, of him going in.
Yep.
So that's Larry. Larry's got a bunch of stuff going on. Then you got Rita.
Yeah.
And you know, you find out that Rita was a. And the interesting thing is that you don't find this out right away, but you find out that Larry is from like the 60s.
Yeah.
Rita's from like the 40s.
Yeah, man. Like, that was one thing that blew my mind about the show, like how old these characters were. But then you find out why. Like,
right. And then Cliff, who's like accident happened like a year or so ago while this guy was making his robot body, is actually happened like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's just basically kind of been in like a comatose state or whatever while he's been trying to build in this body. But anyway, Rita was a 50s or 40s, 50s like movie star, and then she had an accident, and then her body just, if she's not concentrating, turns into this big, massive like pile of goo.
See, they don't talk about this, but in the show, it's some weird thing in the water that changes her.
Yeah.
So did Niles plant that there? I guess he had to have it. He planted it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like he manipulated the space flight to encounter the thing. And I appreciate you not correcting me earlier too. When I was talking about Cliff. Wow,
what did you say?
Well, I'll get to that in a minute.
Sorry.
No, it's really cool. I appreciate you not correcting me on that. But with her, for her, it was always about being graceful and poised and beautiful. And now, when she's not concentrating, her skin will start to sag and droop, and then she'll turn to this goo monster, or just devolve into a big pile of goo.
Playing on the fact of beautiful Scarlet, who's ugly on the inside, now her outside matches her inside.
Right. But of course, she's got a lot of stuff going on from not just being a horrible person, because the day of her accident, she gets a guy fired because was he missing an arm or something, and she didn't like looking at him.
Yeah, it was a very superficial thing to judge a guy on, and then everybody hated her for it. And
the director was like, he's the best guy in this. She's like, yeah, but I don't like looking at him. So and she eats a ton of food too, So I guess that has something to do with her condition. But you realize that these people have been there and they've been living in this house for a long time. And of course, Cliff finally comes through. And then you got Jane, who is a girl who has multiple personalities. Each personality has a different ability. It's a different ability. And when she changes, which is interesting, when one personality takes over, she doesn't just this personality doesn't just take over, but her outward appearance will subtly change too. Yeah. Where she'll get a tattoo where she didn't have one before. Her hair will change color, that sort of thing. And she is what they call the primary. So she's the main person that does all the walking around and stuff, while all the other ones stay put unless they're needed. And they all live in what they call the underground. That is which I thought was a cool concept of whenever one person is going to take over, they get on this subway train that then takes them to, I guess, the brain or whatever, the main control center, and they switch out that way. But then otherwise they're just all there in the underground, all different personalities. And when it's Jane, you see Jane kind of change, but in the underground you see them for what they really are. Like as we would say, Hammerhead is my favorite. Hammerhead's tough. She's strong. And when she's Jane, she's kind of like this, leather jacket wearing kind of
like
tough,
a pump,
right?
Yeah.
In the underground, though, she's this tall, thin, kind of muscular, bald-headed chick, and she's tough. And I don't want to say why I love Hammerhead over everybody else just yet. But anyway, so each one of these has.
I like how the conductor too looks like her. That's so funny.
So when when Cyborg shows up, so Niles is gone. He went somewhere and he hasn't come back. Cyborg shows up and they're like, "Well, we got to find Niles," and all this stuff is going on. But then you start to realize as everyone's going through all this stuff that that the reason that they're having difficulty with their lives, Larry and the spirit within him, the negative spirit, they don't like each other. And the negative spirit will sometimes take over and Larry wake up and it will left him some kind of message that he's trying to decipher. But then it turns out that the thing that's really holding them back is their own inner turmoil, things that they've hidden away that they're not dealing with or haven't dealt with. And that's the only way that they can really deal with themselves. So I'm trying to think which one to go into.
They all have that's such a good thing about the show is every single one of them's got a trauma, and every single one of them you can relate to because you feel bad for them on some level. Mm-hmm. So they're all interesting. Yeah. I mean, even the ones that, even though I went through a list, the ones I liked favorite, anytime they focus in on one character, I don't ever feel bored or feel like I'm missing out on something by watching the show. To be honest, I feel like it's DC's. They've got a lot of. I think DC does really good with some of its TV shows, but I gotta say, consistently, at least these first two seasons, I can't put too many things up above it. Maybe besides Watchmen, that out of DC shows.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the best things they've ever done. So I don't think you can go wrong talking about it anyway. I think Trainer's interesting, but I think Rita's interesting. I like Jane. Jane you didn't really find out much about her until this second season.
Yeah, Jane is really interesting. But so I guess I'll go with Trainer. Okay. So the biggest thing is he's like hidden away alive his past. You find out that once he got control of like his abilities, and the spirit within him, he actually ended up working for a government agency that did some bad things. It turns out that it started out doing good things and then turned into like something else completely different.
Department of Normalcy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To where before he was like helping out, then they turned into like people like you, these freaks, they gotta go. And he was originally a part of the Department of Normalcy, but before that's what they became. But then there's all this stuff within him, like, you know, he had the fact he hasn't seen his children and like all this time he's been like around and still alive. He hasn't seen his children and they think he's dead, you know.
Well, one of them does. The other one holds on to the fact that he's still alive. It's the little boy, yeah.
Right. And then there's everything that he hid away from himself about who he was and denied like who he really was. And that stuff is preventing him from really embracing like what he can do and also the negative spirit, because that negativity, like the spirit, wherever alien world is from, whatever, that negativity drains it and makes it hard to work. So he slowly starts to learn to communicate because he hates this thing that's in him that he feels that he's like tethered to and he can't escape. But then they start, as he realizes this thing's been trying to help him all this time, but it was trying to force him to deal with things he didn't want to deal with. And that's why he hated it, because he didn't want to deal with those things. He had hidden them away and he didn't want to really just basically come to grips with the fact that I did some bad things, being very, very selfish. And I tried to ignore, say that it was all for, you know, the greater good or whatever.
I'll say this, though. I want to point this out. I don't think he was as bad as he thought he was, because remember what happened? He was burned, right? Mm-hmm. His wife left him. And then you find out later that the boy that he grows up and he still believes he's got his little barn and he's got his conspiracy theories where he thinks Larry Trainor's still alive, his dad. And then you find out from the brother, because they meet up at the funeral, and you hear, yeah, mom kind of filled his head with that. She left him.
Yeah. He
would have stayed. He would have tried to make it work. Of course he was freaking still alive. The fact that she still loved him and died sad, she didn't have to. She did that.
But I
so it's really her fault more than it was his.
I think the military had something to do with that, though.
Well, that's, because they did take him, yeah. But at the same time,
I mean, making her make that decision.
Yeah.
Because because his lover left him too, and the thing is, like he
pushed him away.
Yeah. And then he like starts to try to repair these relationships, and the spirit helps him, and he actually gets to talk to his lover like the day he's gonna die. It's like and he's like, and the spirit's like, look, you haven't dealt with this thing, you need to, and now's the last time you can deal with it, and if you don't now, you can't. You're never gonna have that. So then you've got I'll get to Cliff, because I do love Robot Man a lot.
I do.
Because he is trapped in his robot body, and he was a I mean, you realize that he came from like a trailer park, with like a horrible father, and he became this great NASCAR driver, and he wanted to be different from his father, but he couldn't. And then there he is one day, he's out there on the racetrack, and there's an accident, and he gets caught up in the accident, and he's killed. But he's really not.
He's not, because wasn't that beautiful the way they did that?
Yeah.
Because you thought that you saw the car flipping and they just stop, and then the next thing you see is him looking through the robot head, and you think, oh, you know everything, and then bam, turns out that
he bypassed that accident completely.
Yeah, he ended up going with picking up his family, and then that's when he dies, and then he finds out his family's dead, and then that's traumatizing.
Because that was the day, because he got caught having sex with a nanny, and he and his wife got in this big fight and all this kind of stuff, and then he was like he was in this like his trailer, and the name was there, and he's like, you know what? I'm just like my father. I've got to break this cycle for good. And he says he's going to do that, and he goes to pick them up, and he's like, you know, this is going to be the start where we're going to be a family. And then there's the car accident, and they're all killed, and you know they're able to save his brain and put into his robot body. And then you find out that his daughter survived, and not only his daughter survived, but his daughter is being raised by the head of this pit crew who had sex with his wife
because she was trying to get revenge because he was having sex with somebody else. Yeah,
and so all that is driving him nuts. And then on top of that, you find out that Niles, the guy that built him his robot body to save his life, is also the one that arranged the car accident that killed him.
You know what's funny about that? I'll say this, though. If Niles had that much foresight, why did he pick him out of everybody?
Because I think everything about his character said that he would, I think, acclimate to that. And even though, you know, at first he hates it, but like everything about him would take to that robot body easier than I think than someone else, because it's all about loss. And, you know, and he's a guy that's kind of like used to loss. But you find that Niles is behind everything. Like Rita's accident was because Niles put this chemical in the water and turns her into that. He arranged the flight and so that Trainer would purposely run into the negative spirit, which caused his rocket to crash to Earth, which burned him up. What
is it with Jane though? How did he get Jane?
He in the sessions he was doing manipulative things to make the other personalities come out.
Okay. Right. He didn't really create her though. He was just bringing out the personality.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing with Jane is that
she's K.
Right.
She got traumatized as a kid.
Right. Her father was a bad person, and she ended up creating these personalities to protect her. And so these personalities also like have their own unique like ability too. And that what I love about Hammerhead is that like she's always the one that says, you know, remember, this is all about protecting Kay. Like that's her only goal. She doesn't want to make friends. Everything she does is just to protect Kay, and she always brings that up. And that's what I love about her, because that's her sole focus. Is like, you know, I don't care as long as nobody hurts her. And that's the thing. Like the little girl, her personality is still there, but she's being insulated by all these other people to make sure that the real world can't touch her.
And Jane does a pretty good job of that too. She's not quite as bad as Hammerhead,
right?
But that's why I like Jane, because like she's the tough girl that it's hard to not to respect somebody that just stands up for themselves constantly.
Yep. And you know she's always fighting against Cliff for all the wrong reasons.
Yep.
Which is cool, because like that whole dynamic is like he's trying to like be friends with her for some of the right and wrong reasons. But then she's always like fighting back against him for all the wrong reasons. I do love the fact that even I don't know how he puts them on, but Robot Man is wearing a different like rock and roll t-shirt every time you see him, but I have no idea how he gets those on or where he even gets them from. And they're like things like one time he's wearing like a Black Flag t-shirt, and then like another time he's wearing something, and some of them are kind of like not obscure, but like bands you don't really know that well or randomly occasionally see.
I like how he was trying to pick out the perfect t-shirt for his daughter's wedding.
Yeah. So, you know,
I always thought it'd been funny though if he'd have done one with like the tie and the tuxedo, you know, shirt. That would have been funny.
And that's the thing with Cliff is that his daughter doesn't know he's alive. She doesn't know anything about him. She certainly doesn't know that he's in a robot body. And like, how do you explain all that to someone, you know, that I'm alive, I'm your dad, I got no proof of it. And of course, because of who he is and what he's gone through and his brain not working the way it should, he has a tendency to just like do things in all the wrong ways, you know? So he's trying to like reunite with his family. You know, Jane is struggling with the underground for control, because whenever she does something that they don't like one, staying with the Doom Patrol, being friends with Cliff, Robot Man, then they keep threatening to like oust her and put somebody else in charge.
That's what makes the show so great, because they're all struggling. Larry's struggling. They're all struggling with their past. Like Larry's struggling with the guy, the negative guy inside of him, the entity. And then you've got Jane. She's got the struggle. Like Cyborg's got his issues because his mother and what happened with the accident. If that's even real, he doesn't even know if his reality is real or not because he knows his program. I know, and that I'll say that. Like first, I guess I kind of forgot about the first season because I just watched the second season, and like the first season was focused a little bit more on Cyborg's origin, and his dad, and that was pretty cool. Like, but the thing is, he doesn't even know what's real in his past. He thinks he does, and he believes it is, but it could be all taken away like that, you know.
And Cyborg's been running around trying to play like teen hero, but his dad is kind of in charge of everything, and his dad can not hack, but he has access to a system, so he can like shut stuff down if he wants to. And it's funny because his dad is Jackie Childs.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious to me. But his dad, I'm trying to think, like, Joe Morton is...
This is the greatest of my humiliations.
Joe Morton is the Cyborg's father in the Justice League movie, but he played like a different like superhero role in like another like TV series or whatever, like not but like DC, but was Cyborg's father anyway. But yeah, so Cyborg, you know, the whole thing is like he blames himself for the accident, but whenever I watched the footage, I didn't see where he did anything. Like someone else or something else set off a bomb in the
I think his dad's to blame. He just doesn't want him to know it.
I think Niles is to blame.
You think Niles did it too?
Yeah.
Niles killed his mom.
Well, it was to get the father to use the cybernetics because he had to call Niles in to help him use the cybernetics to save the son.
Do you
and
think
do all that stuff?
Well, why hasn't Cyborg put that together or the dad?
Because whenever he sees the footage, all he sees is him being angry, and he like slams or throws something, but the explosion happens like behind him, like not in front of him. But I don't think he sees that. And then the father is just like he's not looking beyond it because he doesn't want to blame his son, so he's not looking too deeply into it because if he looks at it, the only person he can see is like I gotta blame my son. So the son Cyborg and so what's Cyborg's real name?
Vic
Stone. So Vic and his mom are arguing in her lab, and he like hits something or throws something, and there's an explosion, and they both die. Like they make it out, like they get blown out into the lawn or whatever, and they die. But then he realizes through talking to his onboard computer, which starts to kind of take over a little bit, that memory is not real. It's like a implanted fake memory of like what really happened that night that it died to, for whatever reason, his father was trying to manipulate something within him or whatever. So he starts to have like a thing like whether he can trust his father or not, whether he can trust his onboard system, because his onboard system has been like replacing like his body parts with cybernetics whenever he got injured and not telling him. And it's been doing all kinds of stuff, you know, against his wishes. So he doesn't even know like if he can trust himself or who he can trust around him, and he's being told. And I'd like to kind of stay away from the whole Mr. Nobody thing. That's a big like thing. And
then I was going to say like another one we Flex Mentallo, you know, he's just kind of out of nowhere too. But I mean, he was pretty cool. I kind of wish he was in the second season.
I like Flex a lot.
I did too. Like
I didn't like the orgasm thing. That I think stuff like that sometimes takes the show too far.
Yeah, that was a little stupid. But like the whole idea of him like being from a comic book, that's kind of cool, you know. Like I like that. Like
that Grant Morrison creation.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That a lot of this stuff's Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison's freaking out there, and that's why you have the orgasm, and then you got the cockroach and the rat. Yeah. I mean, Grant Morrison. To be honest, I love his stuff on film better or on camera better than I do like reading a lot of it. It works a lot better for me. And dude, one of my favorite characters in the whole freaking Beard Hunter is freaking awesome. Man, he's so awesome. I love Beard Hunter.
See, I thought you were going to mention my other favorite character, which we haven't gotten to yet. Which, I was going to say, like I said, we're going to kind of just bypass Mr. Nobody because that's like a whole thing.
Well, Kipling.
The sorcerer.
Yeah,
guy.
I love Kipling, man.
Yeah, he's cool. But anyway, crap. We were talking about anyway. It's a weird show, and there's weird things that happen in it.
You can't go wrong though. It's so good, man.
Yeah, it's got a lot of like, and as everyone's slowly starting to realize what's going on, then they're also like Cyborg makes Negative Man or like Larry and Rita leave like the mansion, where they've been like cooped up in there, like Mrs. Havisham. He makes them leave. He makes them start to get back into society. Cyborg shows up, the young, like, hotshot wannabe superhero, and he and Cliff kind of like butt heads a little bit, and then they start kind of going out more. And then, of course, is the what was it? Was it a goat?
Yeah, it was a goat. Donkey.
Donkey. And then like it was all these things start to happen, and but then the bad guy tells them that you can't stop me because you don't know the truth about yourselves. And the truth is that all of you were created by Niles. He created all of you and did all this stuff to each one of you for a reason. And that, you're all also repressing all of this stuff, which is stopping you from really being who you could be. But
I love, we've talked about it already, but like, we don't want to go into too much of Mr. Nobody. He's the main villain, but like, just so you know, he went off and started doing a cartoon voice somewhere. Yeah. It's like, that's so awesome.
So Mr. Nobody is played by Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
And then in season 2, like because he gets trapped in a painting in the end of season 1, that's how they get rid of him. And in season 2, he's not in the painting, and they start to get concerned. And it was Beard Hunter who tells him that he went off to do that, which is basically like a
Harley Quinn.
I was gonna say it's like a fourth wall break because he's doing the voice of Joker in a Harley Quinn cartoon.
Yeah. On
the same stage, so that was funny,
and he does a really good job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. I don't want to insult Hamill, but like it's pretty up there, man. It's a good voice.
I mean, well, he does lots of like animated voices and stuff, so he's fantastic. But anyway, I was gonna say one of my favorite characters. And I knew about them from the comic book, but I didn't know too much about them. And I don't think that you're going to like him too much. Oh, but I'm sorry. I want to mention Flex Mentallo. So Flex Mentallo is, like you say, he's the not Joe Weider, but it's the guy from the comic books where
advertisements.
The kid, the bully kicks sand in your face, and you go and you work out, and then it shows the guy is all muscular with the little like banana hammock on. Well, that's Flex Mentallo, but his thing is like, he can do pretty much anything. He just has to flex the right muscle.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know like sometimes which muscle it is.
Yeah.
So if he flexes the wrong muscle, different things happen. Like everybody around him has an orgasm.
Yeah. Which was kind of
Yeah, that was a bit much. But one of my favorite characters that I really like a lot is Danny Street.
Oh yeah, I like Danny Street. I was gonna bring him up too. I love that episode that they focus all around him. Yeah. That was really cool because he basically, and it ties into everything because like he welcomes all the freaks of the world. Yeah.
So Danny Street, and I don't know. Danny wasn't a real person. He was born a street.
Yeah.
Like it was like born a block or a curb or something like that, and then grew into a street. But Danny appears as he's like a street, like from maybe 2 blocks or 3 blocks long, but he's a street, and he's got stores, and he's got like a cabaret club, and anybody can come and hang out on Danny Street. But he would just appear like in certain places, but he'll just like this whole like street will show up, but Danny like welcomes the disenfranchised, the people that don't have any other place to go or feel like they don't belong, and Danny welcomes them there. But Danny doesn't talk. He's just a street. So the only time that Danny talks is through like signs in windows or on marquees. He'll rearrange the letters on them to spell something out.
It's an interesting character.
Yeah, and
then that one episode with the Department of Normalcy, like that's one thing they got to keep moving because they're trying to track him down. And then one of the agents goes in there, and then he's a freak.
Yeah.
Well, in their eyes,
right?
Like because he's like a cross-dresser. What do you call it? Like RuPaul-esque, a burlesque show type person, and like so he finds his true reality there, and then they're mad because they think that they got him, but no, he found his home. He's like, oh, this is it, man.
So
be myself.
Yeah, and like whenever they feel like the Bureau's coming, like Danny Street would disappear, and he'll reappear somewhere else throughout the world. This street will just show up, and you're welcome to come and you can leave when you want. You can stay. Like when he disappears, he takes everybody with him.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes. Like finding him may be kind of difficult, but I don't think you find Danny. I think Danny finds you.
Yeah.
But the idea of a street just being a character
is cool.
It's pretty cool.
And he's been around for a while because he's been working with Niles, since the beginning, really. Because it's weird, and that's one character, man. Niles, oh my god, dude, that guy. Timothy Dalton. I've never thought of him a great actor. I think he's better now that he's older.
Wait. Timothy Dalton was in Flash Gordon, man.
I know, but still,
he was in Flash Gordon, and then later on became a James Bond.
Like I said, I think he got better. I think he got better as an actor because, man, he's one of those guys. Like, man, you like really you hate this guy, but like even the second season where he talks Cliff into going with him to save Dorothy and stuff, and you're just like, man, and just when you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, bam, he shoots him out the air. It's just, oh my gosh, man, he's such a bastard.
He did that though because he was taking Dorothy somewhere.
Well, that was the thing too. Then you think, oh, you bastard, but then it's like, oh yeah, well now you get to be. So yeah, and that's cool. That's the thing too. They take you somewhere and you feel bad about them, and then you're like, oh, they're not that bad, but Niles really is a piece of shit, man.
Yeah, Niles
is. He's such an asshole.
So what you come to find out is that when Niles was on a trip, because he was going around like cataloging like the strange and like bizarre and stuff, and he found this like spiritual, like I don't know, she was like a
cave woman type deal?
Cave woman, like of the earth and stuff, and she ended up kind of like, because he had like fallen and like broken his leg or whatever, and she took care of him, and then while she was taking care of him, he somehow fell in love with, dude. I was like, maybe if you shaved her, but
yeah.
I mean, like that's a lot of nair, and but anyway,
yeah.
And then they end up getting it on, and then you don't really know what happened. Then he ends up leaving her, but then you find out that she had a kid, and the kid is Dorothy, who
he has to leave her though, because he's trying to protect her, because Department of Normalcy found him.
Right. And the kid, it looks like a combination of two of them. She's a little girl. Yeah, and yeah, she's got like a little like kind of like piggy ape nose, but she's got like a lot of facial hair and stuff. But she seems like a really sweet girl, but she also has these powers that she can't control. And Niles learns that, at a particular time,
when she becomes a woman,
right? She's gonna have to die, or she's gonna destroy the world.
So she literally has to be a little girl forever,
right?
It's like a what do you call it? It's a Peter Pan for girls.
Yeah, and so the thing is, though, knowing this, Niles has to find a way to live forever, or to live like one day longer than her.
And then that's why he's done all these experiments on these people, because he wants to find a way to do that.
Right. So that's what all the stuff that he's done was a way to find that. And he had a device that was, or a magical like totem that was keeping them young, but then he had to give that up to like save them. And so now he's aging very quickly, and of course he still doesn't have anything that was going to help him, or and so and the thing is, like, if a certain thing happens, if Dorothy starts to reach womanhood, then the only thing is to kill her, and that's what Kipling will do. Which of course they don't want to have to go that route, but now that Niles is aging, he can't find a way to stop it, and he can't keep her young forever, even though he's trying. And then of course you got the candle maker. But the other part of it is when he comes back to the house and he brings Dorothy with him and introduces her to everyone, but they all now know that they're all freaks because of her.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to resent her.
Right. And it's like not because of her specifically, but because of what you did this, try to find a way to live longer, to do all this stuff, but it's all her fault that we're like this and you did this. Yeah, it's kind of hard not to resent her. And the thing is, the more you resent her, though, instead of treating her like a little girl, you start to kind of like push her, unexpectedly into woman, because she's got to like mature and stop being a little girl because there's no one there to.
What was the episode? Was it Baby Girl? Who was the baby in Jane? I can't remember, when she was playing with Dorothy because they were trying to be friends.
Yeah,
whoever that character is, like when she's the little girl and they're playing. What's funny is you've got this little girl that's got to stay a little girl who's wanting to grow, and then you've got the little girl who is older, but her inside is younger, and then she's so annoying they end up getting in a fight. Yeah. And then it's like, and it's so funny, and then bam, like there's a straight out war because they both got these powers, and just that's when the shit hits the fan, man. That's when it goes all dark and just nothing's ever going to be the same. That was such a great episode. I love that. I gotta say, man, like that. I'm not sure there's like a lot of rewatch value. I mean, I could probably sit down and watch the series again, but like just from episode to episode, really high production quality and just really solid storytelling through and through. Like I mean, except even the weakest episodes are not weak. I don't know what to say.
There's one character I can't stand, and whenever they were on screen or whenever anything they were in the episode, it brought me down, and I hated them. I still hate them, and I don't understand what the point was of them. Cyborg's girlfriend.
Yeah, she was
a grade A bitch from day one, and she never changed from that. She was never a likable person. I don't understand why he gravitated towards her.
She was kind of cute.
I didn't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I think she's all
and
right.
She's like, oh, look at me. Like, I was in the war and I got all burned up and stuff, so no one ever loved me. Like, yeah, okay. And he's like, you're talking to a guy who like lost almost everything explosion, and then she's like, all of her arguments for why she acted the way she did were all bullshit arguments. I mean,
well, do you think he's? I think at the end though, because like this season, like you said, it ended as show short. Don't you think he's going to go after her now, especially after talking to his childhood friend?
Yeah. I mean, obviously she's going to be a villain for him because she's gone back to taking the juice.
Yeah.
So that and then like back into, but like everything about her character was just annoying as shit, and she put up these like barriers to keep people away, but like they didn't feel genuine.
Yeah.
It was just like just a bullshit excuse, and like she just wasn't likable. I just did not like her at all, and I'm like, why is he even like? Remember when they let the was it a purse snatch him like that, and she beat him up, and, then they let him go. And
like, well, that was stupid.
Right. It's like, well, it's okay to like whip his ass for trying to do this, but then you're going to let him go. I'm like, no, like everything she said was a contradiction. And I'm just like, you just annoy me and I don't like you.
I never really thought about her one way or the other. I knew something was up with her. I just didn't know what. I thought it was kind of weird the way it ended. I couldn't believe he let her go either.
Yeah.
I didn't, because he tried to stop her and then he didn't. And then Rita was standing there in her bee costume, and she just kind of went by her. I was kind of hoping something there would happen, and I think she's gonna get hers. Like at the end of the day, I think something's gonna happen to her.
Good.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of try to wrap this up here because I mean, obviously the thing is you should watch the show because it's a great show. And we're just kind of telling you about some of the things that make it really good and really bring out the motivation behind the characters and all that stuff. But like I said, we purposely kind of didn't talk about Mr. Nobody. We really haven't gone into a lot with what's going on with Dorothy and Niles, but we got to mention the candle maker.
Yeah, he's cool.
So she has these imaginary friends, and one of them is this thing called the candle maker, who's got an absolutely cool ass design. But basically, the candle maker, she makes a wish and he carries that wish out and normally does it with a lot of like death and bloodshed. And the thing is, like, he shows up even though she doesn't want him to, and he's like, and because she's a little girl, like she doesn't know how to work through like situations. You know? So when things get difficult for her, or when they're not kind of really going the way that she needs them to, he'll show up and be like, you can make this all go away by making a wish. And the last time that she made a wish, he slaughtered everybody in a circus tent, and they, like I say, he's a really cool character. And she finds out some stuff in like the last episode, and basically lets the candle maker out, and everything that happens there is kind of awesome.
No, like I love the I love Cliff's imaginary friend, man.
Jesus?
Oh, man.
From the Bible camp?
That was so awesome.
That was so funny, like him fighting Jesus.
You could say it was sacrilegious to a certain degree, but like it really wasn't, because it was never...
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. That was great.
And then we left out the whole episode. They spent an entire episode like living on Cliff's like racetrack.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, it is absurd. It is ridiculous. It's not mainstream. It doesn't make sense. It shouldn't work. But man, it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, and that's what makes it great. Like, you've never seen anything like this before, and like you can literally say that. Like you say the superhero tropes are boring and they're not that great, and like it's all been done before. Nah, none of this stuff. It's only been done because it's already been done in the comic, but like on the screen, no. This is great. I mean, like, it's better than 95% of what's on TV now. And
the great thing about it is, like, it's so, like, what happens in the episode is so unexpected. Like, you have no idea going into it that, like, what it's going to be. Like, you could see, like, what the episode's going to be about, but you have no idea, like, how it's going to turn out, because things just kind of just flip all the time.
They do mess with it, and that's the thing, man. It's hard to do nowadays because you're so used to seeing stuff, and you usually can see stuff coming. Mm-hmm. Every time it was supposed to fool me, it did. Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, like, it's
still Wonder Woman 84. Yeah. Let's put it that way. I mean, and that's the funny thing, man. It's like there's good DC movies, don't get me wrong, but like, DC movies are not as good as the shows, man.
No. I was going to say, we completely didn't talk about the first Doom Patrol and what happened to them.
Oh, yeah, because, like, there was one before. And that was messed up, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we didn't talk about that is like, fantastic. And like, in the show is just, it's different, but it's different in a good way. It's bizarre. It's uniquely bizarre. And like, it's like, just when you think that they're like, okay, they've pushed this just a little too far. Like, they know their stopping point. Like, we can push the weirdness to a certain level. We know if we go beyond that, we're going to lose you. So we can get you just to that edge point where you're like, okay, this is getting, and then like, oh, and now we're back.
Oh, and I will say this one point where they did kind of lose me, the first season ending, it was getting a little ridiculous. It was kind of going downhill, but I still liked it. Yeah, it was going a little too, but it was like, it was okay. It was still okay.
I was gonna say, the one character that of Jane's that we didn't mention I like, Penny Farthing. I like Penny. Yeah. I don't know why, but I like Penny.
I like all of them. Like I like all of the her characters pretty much, like, because the thing is, people are more than one thing, and we've all got that in us. We've all got that character inside of us.
The Doctor.
Yeah,
the Doctor's badass. But that's the other thing. When you go into the underground, like, you see characters like isn't there a nun character?
Yeah,
and then there's Scarlet Harlot, who I want to know about because she dresses in like this red Victorian dress, and she's got what looks like these two burn marks down her eyes. Almost like
she's dead now, though, right? Like, they killed her off, right?
Yeah. Well, like, she went missing, and then
yeah.
But like, there's a bunch of characters in the underground that hardly, because there's a bunch of them that, like, none of them, they don't want to be primary, and they stay down there because being primary is a big deal because you have to protect Kay, So, but you see them there in the underground, but you don't know what they do or what they're capable of, and occasionally might catch their name, but they're there. And the thing is, when Jane started looking into this stuff and realizing that Niles was behind this, she realized that there are a lot more personalities in the underground than what she's even knows. Like, and there's like a map in like his thing of like the underground and how it goes, but there's like a bunch of like personalities we haven't even met yet.
Well, and like I don't want to give it away because you haven't seen it, but like I didn't really see what was going to happen. Like when Miranda and Jane were talking.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either.
That was pretty cool.
I knew though that I didn't like Miranda.
I did too. You knew something was up with her because she was just too good to be true. And usually when something's too good to be true, it is. And
like the way she was talking to like, hey, what happened to these people? It's like, well, they've moved on. Like, they don't need to be here anymore because things are better and now Kay doesn't need them. And like, she was just always like, not that being non-confrontational is a bad thing, but she was always just so serene about everything. It just rubbed you the wrong way. So, yeah, but Doom Patrol is actually it's a pretty cool series. The first episode, because it is so different, might be kind of hard to get through. You just got to kind of like relax your brain a little bit and understand that Cliff is going to drop the F-bomb a lot. I mean, like I think there's one episode where all he says is fuck for like the first 5 minutes. He's walking through the house going fuck. It's like I'm like, damn, dude, like find another word.
That's funny.
But anyway, so yeah, Doom Patrol, check it out. And again, that's HBO Max. I feel like I'm doing commercials for them, man. Like I'm getting a kickback and everything.
It's pretty good stuff they've got going on right now. I've enjoyed Lovecraft Country. If you haven't subscribed to it, just do it for a month or two and just binge watch the hell out of a bunch of stuff and then just cancel it.
Yeah, they got the free trial. The only thing I think is like the in theater movies you can't watch on the free trial.
Oh, you can? I didn't know that. Like you couldn't watch Wonder Woman or
no, in the free trial.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, so like what's coming out soon? Well, the Tom and Jerry movie's coming out soon. Yeah, and then like I think today, as of the where we're recording this podcast, Judas and the Black Messiah is out. But like I said, that's again one of those in theaters, same time, but only for 30 days.
I haven't even heard of that. What is that?
Judas and the Black Messiah.
I don't know what that is.
It's a story about it's a Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers and the guy that the FBI had gotten into the Black Panthers to infiltrate that ultimately was behind like his death.
Okay.
With two great actors too. Daniel I'm gonna butcher his name, but the guy from was it Get Out and from Black Panther, and then Lakeith Stanfield, who was in Atlanta, which is a damn good show. I love Atlanta. Atlanta's awesome.
Is it over?
No.
Is there a season 3 yet?
Season 3 and 4 are going to be coming out, and Donald Glover said that he said that season 3 and 4 that are like so well, like so it's something like they're so good and so well written that like the only thing that stands up to them is like The Sopranos, something like that. And but yeah, I can't wait for that. But yeah, it's coming back. But like right now, like part of the reason that Doom Patrol ended one season early was because they couldn't film the last episode because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
so that's where we are with a lot of shows.
But I mean, Atlanta was already really far out, like even before the pandemic started, and like I was like,
but then he had his album. Childish Gambino was doing his album,
yeah.
And I don't know if he was doing any other movies or whatever, but yeah. So and he toured too, because a friend of mine went and saw him. This has nothing to do with comic books, but man, I hate it, and this is just a me thing. I hate it when like an artist is going to be like somewhere nearby and your friend has tickets, and it's not that they don't invite you, but they don't tell you that this person's going to be like playing. Like, I don't necessarily have to go with you, but it'd been nice if I had known they were going to be nearby.
Who was it? Oh, Glover?
Yeah.
When did he come by?
He was...
See, you're saying that and you wouldn't even tell me.
He was in maybe DC or something like that. This was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But my friend had already bought tickets like 3 months before he had told me. He was like, yeah, we're supposed to be going to go see like Childish Gambino. And I'm like, oh, really? It's like where he's gonna be? Yeah, it's like next month he's gonna be here. I'm like, well, shit, I can't get good tickets or even cheap tickets by that time. I'm like, well, damn, man.
Atlanta, there, Teddy Perkins, man. Like that episode, I love. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
I love that freaking episode. Like that was great. And then like I always compare that to Ron and Lily on You haven't watched Barry yet, man. Dude, that's another reason you should get HBO. Barry is so good, man. We got to watch Barry. And there's this Ron and Lily episode. That episode is the Teddy Perkins of Barry.
Because Barry's 2 seasons in, right?
Yeah, and that's stopped too, man. I'm waiting for that to come back. So when they start back up, you will be happy. Well, at least not for Atlanta, but for Barry. It's fantastic.
But in the meantime, though, if you can't watch Barry, but you really need to get your Bill Hader on, I think you can actually stream episodes of Laser Cats. So
that's awesome.
I've actually watched every episode of Laser Cats.
I love it, like when they get. That was awesome.
Yeah, so I've seen them all now. Even when what's his name? Crap, the guy that heads Saturday Night Live. But when he got tricked by Tom Hanks in the show Laser Cats, he got tricked by James Cameron in the show Laser Cats. And he keeps getting
Andy Samberg. Like, are you talking about him?
No. Dr. Evil.
Oh.
So yeah. So I can see like his face if I'm drawing blank his name. But anyway. Yeah, like he's sitting there and he constantly gets tricked by these people into like watching an episode of Laser Cats, which is awesome. But anyway, it's kind of really deviated from Doom Patrol. But Doom Patrol is really awesome. Now, Doom Patrol is a spin-off of sorts from the Titans TV series, which we've had 2 seasons of.
That's really good too.
And season 3 is going to be on HBO Max when it comes out again.
Have you watched those?
Not yet.
Those are good. People don't like them, but they're violent and it's a different tone. But I liked it a lot.
When I saw the first trailer for it, like long, years ago, and it was like Nightwing, and he did a thing, and he was like, "Fuck Batman." I was like, "Yeah, this does not." I'm like, "What the? Like, what is the? No, I'm done." But then I heard like it actually was. I don't understand why Starfire is black, and I know she's the alien. She's not really black, but I'm like, okay, I don't get that. But I'm gonna check it out though, because I have heard it's kind of good. But Cyborg makes an appearance on that first, and then goes from there to Doom Patrol.
It was weird at first, but you know what it is? Like, when you think of aliens, how many 9 times out of 10, what are they? They're Caucasian. Well, in their species, they look black.
But Starfire is orange.
Yeah, but not in their culture. Like in this version, like their species is they're black. Black aliens. Which why if you got white aliens, why can't you have black aliens?
I mean,
and to be honest, like I don't know, like I'm not a scholar of Teen Titans, so like maybe if you go to their planet, they are orange, but like here
Blackfire's orange,
huh?
Blackfire's orange.
She wasn't on the show.
Well, what show?
I'm talking about Titans, like the
right. I'm just saying I don't like the fact that she's that. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't like the fact, but like I was like, why did I mean like I get they wanted the diversity there. They didn't have that, especially since they weren't putting Cyborg in it. So the only other like person of color you have is Beast Boy. But I mean I get it, but I also don't like it. But I mean maybe I'll like it once I watch.
Well, Garth, he's like
isn't it like green when he changes?
Yeah, he's only green when he changes. He's not always green. Like he's like, and he's the spinoff. He's part of Doom Patrol too. Like we talked about. So only for a little bit though. Like just for that one part.
So interesting note that we didn't talk about earlier is like he goes by Beast Boy now, but back during the original New Teen Titans days, he was Changeling.
Yeah.
But he was originally Beast Boy when he was a part of the Doom Patrol.
Yes.
And then after Doom Patrol died, and he started making that Star Trek TV series, and then he joined when he became part of the New Teen Titans. He went to Changeling, and then somewhere after that,
he's
he
Beast
went
Boy
back to Beast Boy.
Yeah, it's like he can't make up his mind.
Yeah. So, yep, Garfield Logan.
Yeah, Garf.
Yeah, but I was gonna say just to kind of wrap it because we were talking about all this stuff. If you haven't watched Young Justice, so again, if you're on that one particular streaming service, if you haven't watched Young Justice season 1 is really good. The season 1 ending, you have a really nice, like, no holds barred fight between Batman and Robin, and Superman and his clone Connor, and it's really quick because obviously they can't compete with them, but it's just that little like bit between Batman and Robin is really awesome.
Well, we did our whole Calling All Robins episode, and like Jason Todd's pretty freaking awesome on Titans, man.
I heard he got brought in there.
Yeah,
and then they've got Hawk and Dove too.
Dude, the girl that plays Dove on Hawk and Dove on Titans. Oh my god, dude, she is beautiful.
But I'll say so. Young Justice first season is really good. Second season picks up 5 years later. They don't really explain really much of anything. Just 5 years later, like in the first season, Aqualad is the leader of the group. When we pick up 5 years later, Aqualad is no longer part of the team, and Dick Grayson, Robin, is now Nightwing, and he's leading the Titans. You have a new Robin. You got like a new, like all the other guys have kind of like have moved up, and then you've got like these new younger heroes in there and stuff, and it takes this really more serious tone with some of the stuff that's going on. Season 2 is incredible, but you have to watch season 1, which is really good too. I
never watched Young Justice.
Huh?
I never watched it.
Oh man, yeah.
We've officially changed it to a movie TV content channel.
but I'm just saying because we were talking about all this, and it's also related with Titans and all that kind of stuff there. I know. But yeah, and I mean, and if you really want to get an idea of like Doom Patrol, especially what we're talking about here, the episodes of Teen Titans from the first season series before Teen Titans Go. You can just go, if you find it like on whatever you're going to watch it on, you can just like go and look and find the Doom Patrol episodes and watch them. Those are really good episodes, especially the time when Beast Boy first finds them after all that long time, and they like what's his name? It's not Mentala, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, and well, he's like he treats Beast Boy like he's still a little kid instead of a teenager, and you see Doom Patrol for like the jerks they are, and then when you encounter them again later, it's really good. So you really get to see like the old Doom Patrol and like a different side of it, but you also get to see them like being like just not heroes in the traditional sense. Anyway, all right, so that's that, and man, we've gone on for a little long, but yeah. We left a lot of stuff out of Doom Patrol, but again, that's for you to watch because it is such a really, really good series. I dig quite a lot, and I can't wait for season 3.
Me either.
Whenever that comes out. So, this is Turk182,
WallcrawlerOne,
and we will be back with some more comic book related stuff. We'll won't be doing like movies and TV shows too much because that's just so easy to get into it, and then change the whole dynamic of the podcast. But when we have to talk about it, we will talk about it, and but we'll be back with some more comic book stuff and talk about everything we love about comic books and what makes comic books great. So we will catch you all later. Come back and join us again. Anything?
No, that sounds good to me.